And if marijuana is legalized, I don't have to wear hemp anymore because it's itchy. I can just go back to cotton.
It's awfully scratchy, dude. All right, so we talked to the good bishop about our legalizing the evil weed. He's again it. I didn't find his arguments very persuasive, frankly.
Me neither, and he's the leading guy against it.
But I think he's a good man who wants to keep kids from ruining their lives.
Oh, sure. He's the leading voice against it. What was I going to say? Oh, I can't believe you still don't hear more about what about the federal law? How's that all going to work out? It's a federal offense to carry marijuana, smoke marijuana.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do about that?
I think Eric Eye the Beholder is really soft on the drug thing. I don't think there'll be any problem.
It was just,
but then when Dick Cheney wins in 2012 with this new artificial heart, pig valves, and baboon aorta, he'll have a different view. By golly,
wasn't it just a couple of years ago that marijuana got moved off the #1 most dangerous drug in America list?
Is it? Or is it still a Schedule A narcotic?
That it might be, but it was.
That's the list.
It was seen by the FBI as the #1 threat.
The DEA.
DEA,
yeah. The #1 drug that they finally said, all right, meth. Goodness sakes.
And that was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, please. It's Steve in Petaluma. Hello, Steve. Welcome.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Talk to us.
Well, with all due respect to your guest, and I respect his moral positioning perhaps more than his arguments, they were not particularly persuasive. And while I can't answer your questions on law, one thing I have studied into is the measured effects of psychoactive chemicals on the brain.
Are you wearing hemp right now?
I am certainly not.
Hemp underpants, I'll bet.
I'm wearing a really nice llama wool beanie I got in Peru recently.
Really?
It's a different story. Actually,
that sounds nice. Is
my
it?
girlfriend picked it up for me, and it is nice.
What color is it?
It's kind of brown and tan mixed up gray with little dancing llamas on it and a nice pom-pom and ear warmers and everything.
How cool is that?
Anyway,
I don't think I can pull it off.
So here's why I wanted to call as soon as he got on the line with you guys, was he began by saying something along the lines of, you could go out and have a beer without the intent to get drunk.
Yeah.
You could not perform this action with a marijuana cigarette. Simple fact is that he's not taking into account tolerance or chemical dosage.
Well, I don't know anything about how much. We all know 0.08 for alcohol is a legal limit for driving. What is it for marijuana, and how much do you have to smoke to get there?
Well, it depends. Are you,
Once again,
you got some sort of ditchweed, Fresno ditchweed, or a coma dope?
Yeah, exactly, right.
Vulcan mind eraser.
Exactly. African redbud death hash.
Here we are near to Humboldt, Mendocino County. As we all know, there's some fairly potent product, if you will, grown up there.
I've heard that.
So one of those is, and yes, I do have relatively recent personal experience on both the personal and
call the authorities.
Academic.
Have this line traced.
No, there's more than one Steve in Petaluma, I promise. But the simple fact is that it's the same thing as one beer. You can achieve different levels of intoxication, and that's not a matter of personal observation. That's a matter of the simple fact that THC is operating on you.
But do you have any idea what the cops are going to decide is the legal limit for dope?
Geez, I really couldn't tell you.
See, that's the question.
It's so difficult to test.
Yeah.
Any sort of there's no breathalyzer for that.
Right.
There's almost no way to test it in a practical sense. They'd have to haul everybody off to the slammer and blood test them.
I can't. I was just reading about this the other day, and I remember it was counterintuitive. Whiz quiz, yes. Blood test, no. Or I can't even.
And
remember.
Here's my guess
too. Field sobriety test, right? If you can't demonstrate to the law enforcement officer that you're not in a good enough state of mind to be driving, then off you go.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But you see, here's what my guess would be, because the legal limit for alcohol started high and has been coming down because everybody drove drunk and liked it.
Yeah.
Right.
Is part of the reason. My guess is for marijuana, it'll be the other way around. It'll start at a very, very strict number.
Yeah,
that'd just be my guess.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't mean to push the case. I particularly don't really care that much about the legalization issue
because it's not slowing you down much.
Right? Yeah, because it ain't slowing anybody down. We can just be honest.
I know.
Right. That's what we're saying.
That's what seems silly to me.
The simple fact is too that they're going to start dangerously low. I mean, they're going to start with, we can effectively lock anybody up on a whim if we catch them driving while having smoked pot.
If you can smell it at all, probably.
Right. And it's like your question with the hemp clothing. It'll take a little while. At first, the hippies will all rejoice and say, yes, I can wear my hemp in public and make my statement, and then give it a year and they won't care. I think it'll be about the same thing.
All right, Steve, listen. Well, go ahead, quick as you can.
Yeah, you got it. The simple fact is that people driving on meth are about 1,000,000 times more dangerous than people driving on pot, and I think eventually everyone will realize that.
Well said by a man in a llama hat.
Watching you on TV 50, guys. Keep up the good work.
All right, thanks, Steve. Send us a picture of that hat via email, would you?
Hey, sure thing. It's ArmstrongGettyRadio.com?
Yes, that's the website. You can click on a link. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Bob. Likeable guy.
Mm-hmm.
Drug fiend. Here's Lisa in Folsom. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for waiting. What's up?
Hey, I teach high school, and my students said to me, wait till your generation is gone, and I'm about your age, in my 40s, and everybody will be smoking weed. So your argument that you said that I don't know anybody that starts smoking weed that isn't already doing it, I agree with you at our age group, but young people are going to grow up thinking, this is what you do, this is no big deal.
That's probably true. There'll be a higher percentage of people that...
I suppose that's possible, although, kids who drink has existed since the beginning of time.
Right, and they drink to abuse it, and that's what they'll do with marijuana.
And you try like hell to prevent it.
Right, so why are we going to legalize something else that then we're now going to have to try to...
I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked the bishop. If you were all-powerful, would you make alcohol illegal?
No, because I don't think it was successful. I would not make it illegal because it's already legal right now.
Making marijuana illegal is not successful.
If you were to bring back prohibition, Lisa, it would cut down drinking. No, I said listen to me. If you were to do that, it would cut down drinking in the same way that the current state of affairs re marijuana has theoretically maybe limited it. But you're not against that for alcohol. Why not?
Because the mindset... Well, because it's already legal. I'm saying why legalize something, just like the bishop said. Tobacco's already legal. We know it's big business. It's big money. We could never change that. I'd love to have tobacco be illegal. There's nothing good.
I think tobacco would be illegal. It would have been illegal a long time ago. If it used to be the number one taxpayer in America up until fairly recently.
Yeah, because it's a moneymaker. And so
because it's hard to justify outside the fact that it pays so many taxes.
Well, freedom, to justify it on the basis of freedom. If people want to kill themselves, but
if you want to make your own cigarettes at home, I don't know if you can justify having companies put out something that is just a poisonous product. It's got no benefit whatsoever.
All right, fair enough.
It's not a food stuff. It's not anything.
Right, and my concern is just working with young people. Their mindset really is if something's legal, it can't hurt me. I mean, they really have that. That's what young people think. We know that.
Well, they ought to have parents.
Well, I agree, but I work in high school, and I'm telling you that they don't have that. They have the mindset of what's the big deal? They're already abusing alcohol. Alcohol's illegal. I mean, alcohol's illegal for them, but it's legal for us, so they see it as, it's no big deal because eventually I can drink, so what's the big deal?
Well, I think it's going to pass. I think they're going to have legalized marijuana soon.
Hey, I know we're running a little late, but we always get this argument, and I love it.
George Washington grew hemp?
Yes. No. Idiot. It's John in Brentwood. John, welcome. Fire away.
I just want to know, I'm just kind of curious, at what age are you going to toke up in front of your son or your daughter, and at what age are you going to tell them this is no big deal?
Excellent. John, thank you so much for bringing this up. This may be my great philosophical reason for continuing to breathe for the next however long God gives me. Just because something is lawful doesn't mean you should do it, and bad things are not limited to those that are illegal. We have developed into such passive, legalistic people. We don't make any judgments on our own. We simply look to the law. When is it okay for my kids to smoke dope? Never, because I think it makes you dumb and takes away your initiative. When is it okay to be dumb and lose your initiative? Never, despite the legal status.
At about 13 for me.
Can I respond to that?
Please do.
It's great that you have that mentality, but I think all you have to do is take a look around the country, and particularly in the inner city, and there's a great many people who can't articulate themselves as you do. And so I think government endorsement of many, many things leads people down the wrong path.
This is another interesting point where you and I disagree. And John, once again, you have the health and well-being of young people in your mind. And good for you. I'm grateful that you're sucking wind with the rest of us. But you take anything that is not made illegal by the government to be some sort of endorsement, which is backward to my view of the way this country was founded. That the government should step in only when there is a compelling need to step in. You want them to step in everything except what they, quote, endorse. I think that's backwards.